ever serial killer. That sentence sounds bad enough, right? It can't get worse. That's awful. It can get worse. It can get so much worse. It's gonna get heartbreakingly bad. Let's dive into Mary Ann Cotton. Feel free to fight me in the comments. UK's first ever serial killer. So let's go for context. Let's get into the time period, because there's no reason to excuse anything that she did, and she did the worst of crimes, but let's just take a look of what was going on at the time. So if you're in London at that time, it is a horrible time to be alive if you're, at first I thought, a woman. It's a terrible time to be alive as a woman. Then I'm like, no, it's a terrible time to be alive as a child. And then I thought, no, the men didn't have it easy either. So if you have money, it was a great time to be alive. Life was grand, but if you didn't have money, endless ways, endless suffering, endless everything. And how this all started was the industrial, I can't speak, I'm stroking out like every video, the Industrial Revolution. All the people from the outskirts come into the city to try and get jobs. Now the cities are overcrowded. Now all of a sudden there's not enough jobs, but now all the people are in the city. So now children are working. Women are kind of working, but women don't have time to work because they're busy having kids. 10 kids was not uncommon. They said it was not uncommon for women to spend 20 years pregnant and having babies and pregnant and having babies. Please God, no. Please God, no. Then you go into the infant mortality rate, and it was 2 out of every 10 would not make it. So there was a saying in the culture that was like, you're not really a mother until you've lost one. So just times were not good. So there's unsanitary, and because it's unsanitary, you have all these diseases going around. You have typhoid fever, which I did an episode on Typhoid Mary. It's an absolute nightmare. Typhus, scarlet fever, yellow fever. If you were poor, just trying to stay alive is like your only goal. So let's kind of now get into what Mary did. I would say she was like an original entrepreneur, but the way that she made her money is worse than the way that anyone has made their money since. So because of all this death and dying, insurance companies decided that a great way for them to make money is to have insurance policies. In case someone in your family dies, you're going to take care of your family. So not only were they offering insurance on the husbands, but they were offering insurance on the children. Now, it wasn't uncommon for people to swap marriages. Like, your husband dies, your wife dies, you move on. So people were getting married and moving around all the time. Everyone's dropping dead, and so everybody's getting life insurance. So this is when it gets really, 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 really bad. Mary, let's just start. Her childhood sounded like it was great. Her dad falls to his death. Her mom remarries, and I don't think she liked the new husband, because immediately she leaves the house, gets some sort of job, and meets somebody, and gets pregnant before marriage. So they move to Cornwall because they don't want like a scandal. Forget that everyone's dropping dead. I'm like, why does anyone care if you got pregnant before marriage? You're trying to stay alive. But they did. So Mary and her first husband head off to Cornwall, and they start a life. He gets a job on a ship or a boat or whatever you do then, and they have 1 baby, 2 babies, 3 babies. They have 4 children. They all die. You're wondering why I'm doing this video. I'm wondering as well because it doesn't stop. This is just the beginning. It doesn't stop. Not only do the 4 children die, but her husband comes home on leave, somewhere in the middle of these children dying, and suddenly drops dead. Now, technically on his death certificate, it said typhus and typhoid, I think. 2 diseases that weren't poisonings. Let's just jump into the poisoning. It wasn't technically that it was poisoned, but so let's just sum it up. All the kids die in this family, and the husband was not sick whatsoever. People commented. He came home from leave, he was great, and all of a sudden he's dead, just like overnight. But because everyone was dying, no one did anything about it. So arsenic was odorless and colorless, and it wasn't like household bleach, but it was used in everything. It was used in like a ton of things in the house. So this is where things get super creepy. It wasn't uncommon for people to off their babies to get the insurance payout to pay for the rest of the family. You're probably thinking that is not possible. There's no way people are going to off their kids to get an insurance payout. Well, this is how bad it was. Insurance companies stopped altogether. They stopped insuring kids under 3. So imagine how many people off their babies that they had to stop insuring them. And some companies did it, but they instead of getting the equivalent of $3,500, it would be like $200. So are you really gonna off your kid for $200? I'm sorry to talk about this so cavalierly, but it's, how is this possible? So I thought it through. I'm not in their footsteps. I don't know. I don't know. I guess if you're looking at 8 other children and one is already sick anyway, I don't even want to go there. I'm just saying that it's possible the mindset could have been, I'm going to take care of the kids I have. But I think other people, worse people, were just like, I'm just going to get pregnant and have kids and then get an insurance payout and repeat. Okay, let's backtrack for a second. So we know everyone's dropping dead. We know that people are poisoning their kids. They're also poisoning their husbands. Similar reasons. We'll get back into that. There was something called the workhouse. So with all the people that came and couldn't find work, suddenly are on the street with no money, but they don't want people on the street with no money. No. So they are going to have a workhouse. So this workhouse is everybody's worst nightmare. Ask anyone on the street and their head's gonna pop off and they'll literally marry anyone, do anything, take any job not to go into that workhouse because the government, so people are afraid of unemployment today, right? People judge it back and forth. Whatever your view is, the UK government was like, we're not gonna want people to be on unemployment, their version. We're gonna have a workhouse and we're gonna F them up. We are gonna F them up so hard, it's gonna be their worst fear, and that's what they did. That's what they actually did. I wanna do an episode on this because I can't believe it's so bad. I can't believe. Okay. This workhouse, you go, right? So it's last stop. It's last stop before death. You go to the workhouse and they're gonna give you food and they're gonna give you board. By food, I mean, you're not gonna die from starvation. And outside of that, the food can kill you and it's gonna be awful and it's gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna be the worst possible thing, but there will be something for you to eat. And they're gonna give you lodging. But the lodging, it's like a cattle stall. Like you see these old time photos. I'll try and put some in the video of these kids, parents, people in little, tiny little pieces of rooms. And then they would work you 12 to 18 hours a day of a job that you could easily die from. So, I mean, there's gonna be another episode. I don't wanna get sick. Okay, so let's dive in to Mary's husband number 2. So Mary lost all of her children. Her husband passed away. She leaves Cornwall, goes back to where she's from, and what is she gonna do? She's husbandless, no job. So she gets a job as a nurse. What happens? She meets George Ward. Poor George. He has no idea. So they hit it off. They get married. He's got some children. He's bedridden. And it seems that Mary likes to spend. She likes to spend. She likes to attract men with clothes that she buys. She likes to spend money on, who knows, toiletries, makeup. George never got better. So she met him in the hospital. He recovered, and then I guess he got sick again. So he was bedridden the whole time. A couple of his kids pass away. It's getting usual by now. He dies within 7 months. 7 months. Okay, so Mary meets husband number 3, James Robertson. Now, the husbands are getting smarter, thank God. James Robertson puts an ad out. His wife passes away. He has 5 kids. He puts an ad out. Mary responds, and he hires her. She's an attractive woman. She's husbandless. She needs the job. Right after he hires her, her mother calls, and her mother's very sick, so she needs to run off and take care of her mother. So she runs off, does that. While she's away, her mother finds her stealing. I don't know what she was stealing, but she's stealing from the mother. Within 5 days, the mother's dead. Oh my God. The mother's dead. And apparently she had a child left with the mother named Isabella, so she brings Isabella back to the Robertson house. So the Robertson, he has 5 kids. One is very sick. Now they've got Isabella. His baby passes away. Isabella passes away. How is nobody catching this right now? It's because she moved around. But anyway, this is real. This is a true story. This is not an urban legend, creepypasta. Ugh, okay. So the baby passes away. Her child passes away. I guess they comforted each other because Mary got pregnant. And because George is an upstanding guy. Is it George? James, sorry. James is an upstanding guy. They get married. Well, guess what happens? Because Mary has a little shopping habit and she likes money, she starts stealing from George. James! She starts stealing from James. Not a little, like a lot. Like he starts noticing money from an account, money on a credit here. And then all of a sudden, his money is disappearing. Like his money, his income, his plenty of money is being siphoned away from him. So he gets wise to this. Meanwhile, every single one of his children dies. All of them. So now, in the middle of all this death, in the middle of her stealing, she keeps pestering him to get life insurance on himself. Like, what's gonna happen to me? What's gonna happen to me? What's gonna happen to the kids before they all died? What's gonna happen? He caught on. He caught on to it. It was too much. She was over the top. He was not gonna insure himself. He knew what was gonna happen. He kicks her out into the street. This is the first time she gets what she deserves in this whole thing. He kicks her out in the street. But what happens? She meets husband number 4. Okay, get ready for it. Things are getting interesting. So Mary's on the street, and we find out Mary has a best friend named Margaret. And Margaret, being a caring friend, says, Mary, oh my God, you're on the street. This is horrible. Come live with me and my brother, Frederick Cotton, who, wait for it, he's a widower with 2 small children. She moves in. They're living together. Everything is great. And Margaret makes one fatal mistake. The worst mistake. She tells Mary that she has $50, 50 pounds saved, which is what, around 5,000 now? What happens? She's dead within 5 days. So now, the brother, Frederick Cotton, is like, his sister dies, this woman's living there, he has kids. I guess, you know what happens, they're sleeping together. But wait for it, all of a sudden Mary has a new player in the game. She's got a lover named Joseph Mattress, who moves in down the street. So now she's living with Margaret's brother. She's got her boyfriend down the street. She gets pregnant. Who even knows? Who knows? But Frederick feels responsible, so he proposes to her. Now they're married. Within 2 years, he dies. On the death certificate, it's not poisoning. Again, Mary, ching, 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 she's been cashing in this whole time. She's cashing in every death. Every day. What is she doing with the money? I guess she has a shopping habit, but like, it doesn't matter. She moves Joseph Mattress in, and now she has her lover living in Margaret's house, Frederick's house, that are both dead because of her. Everyone's dead, and she moves her boyfriend into that house. I wish I could visit that house. Just don't. Okay. Then, I guess she gets bored. Okay, I was wrong. There was one child left, one Cotton child left, a son. Mary doesn't want the kid. So she's moved on from everyone. Now it's just Mary and the kid, right? So she goes to this guy, whoever's in charge of the workhouses, and she's like, you gotta take this Cotton kid. Like, I'm a woman on my own and I can't survive. And if you could just take him, he could have food and board and he could be taken care of. And the guy is horrified. He's horrified. They don't take alone children, single children in the freaking workhouse. And why? So he thought this was weird, right? So she's really going in for the kill, like trying to convince him to say how bad she has it and he's gotta take this kid. And she slips and says, well, I guess he'll just die like, no, she didn't say die. I guess he'll just end up like all the other Cotton children. And I guess this stuck with the guy. It stuck with him. So guess who ends up dead? I think within a week, that child ends up dead. And so this guy He's done. He's like, he knows she killed him. Like, it's done there, and he knows the coroner. He talks to the coroner, tells him the situation. They decide to exhume the body. They exhume the body, and they find lethal amounts of arsenic. So this is the 11th child she's killed, and they finally figure out it's her. All the house of cards comes tumbling down. She is effed. Like, she is done. They start exhuming other bodies. They exhume like 4 other bodies. And this is hard at the time. They didn't have the technology. Like, from what I've read, they would do autopsy. Like, one of the kids, they'd like put the kid on the table, please forgive me, and did an autopsy like in the house of the person. They would do it in bars. Like, it was crazy. So finally, she's found out. She goes immediately into prison, jail, whatever, holding cell. The newspapers get a hold of it. There's a nursery rhyme about her. People are horrified that a woman could do this. Like, it's bad enough you've got the Jack the Rippers and all the men murdering. Now they've got a woman murdering. So everybody's up in arms and going crazy. And in the end, she really got what she deserved. She was hung, but she got a lazy executioner, stroking out again. She gets a lazy executioner. And I guess when they hang you, when your neck is supposed to break, so it's civilized in terms of killing, which is not civilized, but the suffering is less, right? Just immediately, but his didn't. So I guess she was like struggling for minutes, and he finally like pushed her down. I don't want to talk about it. You can look it up. It wasn't good, but I guess she got what she deserved in the end. Anyway, what is even happening? So all of this was for life insurance money. She killed 11 children. 3 of those were stepchildren, and all of her husbands. At the beginning, I thought the husbands died of natural causes. I'm like, no, that's actually reported in, no. She killed everyone, and her mother. So that concludes this episode. I can find something fun for the next one, something uplifting. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. We can't wait until the next time, and I believe it's going to be a saltwater crocodile. Never go to Australia. Can't wait to see you the next time. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Bye-bye.